class is the DNA factor. The DNA factor. I'm just waiting for the link to come up. It's taking a little bit time loading. Let me just see something. Copy that. Okay, here we go. We've got it. We're live. Copy and in the chat. Okay, paste. All right, the link is in the chat. I pasted it twice. It's in the chat, and you can copy that link and keep it because that's the link for this evening's class. And I will leave it available online so that you could review it. I'm not going to be showing slides because I want to talk to us this evening uninterrupted. For those who will be with us on our trip, we will share some more information on this particular class because it is extremely important. And before I go any further, I want to say, hold up. We have the Golden Eagle in the house whom I have missed. So I have to pause to acknowledge the Golden Eagle. Come on, Golden Eagle, please unmute yourself and let us know that it's you and it is not some figment of my imagination. Is it you, O?
Yeah, it's me, Your Excellency. I think I went through the process and I came out strong. I am powerful now than ever.
Is it well with you?
Yeah, it is 100% well with me because the devil has lost it completely.
Don't worry about him. We can fix him. We can fix him when we get together. It's where we scatter that he has a choice or options. Yeah. But when we stay together, we can fix him. Welcome. Come on, let's welcome the Golden Eagle. Come on, let's welcome the Golden Eagle. Listen, you are welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So this evening's class is going to be a talk, a lecture. I don't like to use the word lecture, but that's what it really is. It's actually a lecture, but it's on the subject, the DNA factor. I want to focus on the DNA factor this evening. And it is important because a lot of us operate from the level of practice, habit, and would like to do. Right? You can write that down. Practice, habit, and would like to do. We all operate from those boundaries or those dynamics. Practice, habit, I would like to do. All right? But we know that Paul said in the scriptures, he says, "Oh, wretched man am I, Who could deliver me from this bodily of flesh, this affliction? Who could deliver me? The things I want to do, what I don't do. And the things I don't want to do, I find myself doing. Because there's a conflict between mind association and DNA functionality. Mind association and DNA functionality. How many of you know that your DNA does not need you to teach you how to be? How many of you know that? I want you to wave your hand at me if you get what I'm saying. Your DNA does not need your permission to be who you are. Because who you are is wrapped up in your DNA without your input, without your support, without school, without education, without academia or social. Who you are is wrapped up, completed, finished in your DNA. If you agree with me, wave again. I want to make sure you are agreeing with me as we go forward, because I don't want to give a message that is conflicting or confusing. So we established that you are a finished product from the womb. You're finished. School is just man's way of colonizing, socializing, educating you. School, the academic system. Culture or tribe is just a way of people allowing you to see what is there and what you like, what you don't like, what you attract, what you don't attract. All of those dynamics are external to your DNA. All of them. All of the behavior, remember when we did the mind, we did the teaching, the training on the mind, the body, the response, and the emotions. All of these things are learning experiences. I want to challenge you. I want to challenge you in this class and ask you a question. Some of you will smile at this question, but I want to challenge you. Do you know yourself? Do you know yourself? You see, the reason why I'm asking you that question is because I'm discovering myself. As you get older, you start to discover yourself. And what do I mean by that? Let me explain it this way. I'm going to give you a definition of fear that it's okay. It's okay. My dad once told me that, and I think I should give you the scenario before I tell you what he told me. As I mentioned to a lot of you, I was a gangster's reverend. I worked with drug dealers and gangsters and killers and individuals that are not the average persons that persons would hang out with. Those are persons that I'm very comfortable around, extremely comfortable. I think if they take me to Mexico with the Mexican cartel, I would be buzzing to just go and see the boys and give them a knocking and ask them if they want me to pray for them. It is just my nature. I don't have fear. But my dad said to me, when I took him to meet some of the guys that I deal with, he said to me, Mike, you know, sometimes a little bit of fear is good. Wave your hand if you agree with what was said. Wave your hand. Sometimes a little bit of fear is good. Because you see, when you walk through a jungle and you hear a lion roar, what happens? Fear grips you. And you think, oh my God. That's nothing to do with you. That's to do with your DNA. Listen to what I'm saying to you. Your DNA recognizes that to survive, this environment that you're walking into can kill you. So your DNA is saying, prepare for evacuation, prepare for flight. So fear is good. We need to have fear because it teaches us when we are going beyond either our limit, if you're driving too fast and you start to tremble and you start to sweat, what should you do? Slow down. Are you with me? Because your body is saying to you, you are not in control right now. And if you continue at this speed, you're going to hurt yourself. So your body in its own design knows everything that you need to keep you safe through fear. Fear keeps you safe. Are you with me? Some individuals would meet somebody that would say, oh, I want to meet up with you. I want to talk to you. But when the person says it, the way it sounds in your ears, your body responds and says to you, that sounds like danger. That does not sound like anything good. So fear is good. Now, anxiety, the Bible says, be anxious for nothing, but by prayer and supplication, let your requests be made known unto God. Yes? Be anxious for nothing. But how many of you know anxiety comes in points to warn you about situations that are important to be mindful of? For example, and this is one of the examples that I would use slightly. Remember, we're talking about the DNA factor. So everything I'm referring to is all about DNA. It's all about built into you. It is nothing to do with anything external to you. It's what God has created you with as an individual without any culturing, without any mentoring. It's just you, called the DNA factor. How many of you know if you are far away from home and your stomach starts to rumble, your body says to you, you're going to have a movement that you don't want to do in public. What happens? You start to sweat. You start to get nervous. You start to wonder, why wouldn't the van driver drive fast? You start to wonder, oh my goodness, I hope that my house is right around the corner. How many of you get what I'm saying? There's an anxiety. Is that correct? You become anxious because your body is telling you something is going to happen and it is nothing to do with you. It is just to do with the reality is this is what happens when this time comes up. This is what happens. And you're supposed to be in a position to deal with it, all right? But as you get older, you learn how to manage those happenings. You learn how to manage them. Culture yourself. A lot of you are going through what I'm going to tell you is DNA rebellion. Get ready to be shocked for some degree. Because you see, when you go through school, college, and university, you are just being taught, educated, stimulated, pushed in a direction, but it has nothing to do with your DNA. Are you getting where I'm going? Please, if you're getting where I'm going, just shake at me so you don't think I'm going crazy. But if you get where I'm going, Barrister, are you with me? Because I would look to you for identification, Barrister, if you're with me. And what happens as you get older? A lot of individuals use their degrees or their qualifications and they go into a vocation. But as they get older, they become unhappy or disgruntled or frustrated or annoyed with what they're doing. Why is that? It's called the DNA rebellion. You're doing what you were not designed to be doing, and therefore you're not comfortable. And therefore you're not satisfied. You're not happy. You're not at the top of your game. You do it and you say, this is to pay the bills. This is to feed my family. Are you with me? But there comes a time where your body's ability to hold up, all of your faculties are holding up based on your teaching, your culturing, the expectation on you based on what you know, and all of your faculties are holding up based on these dynamics. But now you are tired. Why? Because you're not being yourself. And your body is admitting to you, come on, man, this ain't you. So your body's kind of talking to you, your DNA. This ain't you, bro. You don't let people take advantage of you like this. This ain't you. Oh, but I'm a man of God. And you know, as a man of God, I gotta behave this way. Come on, somebody. Are you getting what I'm talking to you about? Are you getting it? Are you getting it? A lot of you are doing things that is a challenge, and it's a chore, and it's difficult to do. And the reason why it is difficult to do is because it's not you. It's not you. A lot of you allow individuals to treat you a particular way, and you bite your lip and walk away. And you just walk away because you want to behave a certain way, but it's not you. I'm going to talk to all of you in the class of Steele, and I'm going to tell all of you something, one after the other, and I'm going to tell all of you about yourself. In one little sentence, all of you, every single one of you that is here in front of me right now. Can I have permission to be real with you, please, as your mentor? Can I have permission to be real? Is it okay? Even if it embarrasses you, sometimes, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable. As a matter of fact, even if you don't see yourself that way, it is irrelevant how you see yourself. Can I tell you why? Because what matters is how others perceive you. Are you with me? And if you have others perceiving you that are not honest with you, you will never reach your full DNA potential. For example, I will go to my wife. I'll go to my wife first. They said to begin at home. My wife is one of the greatest leaders that I know. One of the greatest leaders that I know is my wife. However, my wife is one of those individuals who, because of wanting to get it right and make sure it is done properly, she seeks approval first. How many of you get what I'm saying? She seeks approval, my approval as her husband. Darling, what do you think about this? Darling, how do you feel this is? Now answer me a question. Is that good or bad? Is it good or bad? I'm going to pick on you, Barrister. Barrister, is that response good or bad? Is that good or bad?
Absolutely good.
Absolutely good in your opinion. And my message is going to tell you something different, but I agree with you. It's absolutely good because it causes her and I to gel and work together. So it's absolutely good in that dynamic. Not what I'm saying. In that dynamic, it's good. However, Barrister, I'll tell you something. It is also bad. It is bad because a lot of times it is contrary to what she would want to do, which is my response. It's contrary. And because it is contrary, she is doing what I want her to do sometimes. That's why she gets very annoyed with me when I don't help her, barrister. I don't help her. I says, darling, you do it. And she says, but darling, you don't give me any input. Oh, the reason why I don't give her any input, and I'm talking about her in my class, is because I want her to know I cannot be you. I don't want you to be me. I want you to be you so that I can have the attribute in the class of Steele of me and you. There are things that you want that I don't agree with, but because it's your role and it is your authority, you are the boss. And I give you that right to be yourself. So I don't want you always to have my approval. I want you equally to do what is your gut feeling. What makes you feel right? Does that make sense what I'm saying, barrister?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But barrister,
Absolutely.
But it's dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah.
But thank you so very much for your acknowledgement.
It's good for people.
Yeah. Say again.
It's good for people to have a mind of their own.
It is excellent to have a mind of your own. If you don't have a mind of your own and somebody is minding you, then if somebody's minding you, you're supposed to be minding yourself. Who are you minding? Are you minding somebody else? What's it? That's why I say to the class of Steve, I don't beg. How many of you have I ever called and begged to come to the class once? Who have I ever called to beg to come to the class? Nobody. Why? Because I'm not minding you. You have a mind of your own. If you say to me, God tell you don't show up, don't show up. I'll make it easy for you. Why? Because I want you to have a mind of your own. Doreen, I saw your hand up and I want to get your take on it as a lady, Doreen. I don't want to miss you. So go ahead, Doreen.
Well, why she always seeks your opinion is because she doesn't probably want to make corrections. Once she makes a decision for herself and then you look at what she has done, you will tell her, no, I do not agree. Then she has to do it all over again. So this is why she would come to you for approval.
Well,
first.
You are right, Doreen. You are correct. But I'm getting to the place as a mentor where I'm realizing I don't want to correct you. I want you to do it and let it be done your way. Are you getting what I'm saying, Doreen? That's why you are our COO, because I want you to do what you want to do within the parameters of a vision. You have a vision, but I want you to do it your way. I don't want to tell you how to do it. I don't want to tell you how to do anything. I want you to create the initiative that is comfortable with you, that makes you happy, that makes you say, oh my goodness, I am in my element. Why? Because when you are operating with DNA directive, come on somebody, when you're operating with DNA directive, you do not rebel against yourself. You do not rebel against your own what? Better judgment. Are you hearing me? You don't rebel. When you come to the class of Steele because you want to be here, you are not intimidated by me. And when you don't show up, it's, you know, when somebody doesn't show up, I miss you, but I give you the right to not show up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because you are your own individual. You manage your own ship. You run your own life. You have your own priorities. And if you are going to operate with DNA directive, you have to choose what you want to do and choose not to do what you don't want to do. The reason why Paul was wrestling is because Paul was falling under a new covenant of recognizing, wait a minute, I am wanting to do what Christ wants me to do, what Christ would expect me to do. However, my DNA as Paul or as Saul is rebelling against this. Are you getting what I'm saying? Wave at me if you get what I'm saying. My DNA as Saul is rebelling against this. This is not what I want to do. This is what I am doing. What? Learning how to do. And I want to perfect this. But watch this. But watch this. From my youth, I'm doing what I love. Listen to me. Listen to me. From the time I was a small boy, I was a storyteller. I used to write poetry. I used to write so much. I could sit down and spellbound any audience from my youth as a little child. What I'm doing is not practice. What I'm doing is me. Do y'all get what I'm saying? What is the unique you that you are giving to the world? The DNA you. What is it? I want to challenge you. What is the DNA you? A lot of you are happy because you found a group of individuals, but now I told you about my wife. I'm going to tell you about every single one of you in the class of Steele. All of you. Look at all of your faces, and I'm going to tell all of you in the class of Steele one single thing that all of you have. Every single one of you in the class of Steele have the same thing. All of you have the same very DNA factor that I can see, recognize, and I smirk. You want me to tell you what it is? All of you are powerful. Every one of you are powerful. Every single one of you sitting down listen to me. Listen to me. Every single one of you sitting in front of me in the class of Steele have one single factor. All of you are powerful individuals. Without me, you don't need me. You don't need me. None of you need me. None of you need me. Not one of you. I can look through your eyeballs. Golden Eagle, you don't need me. Golden Eagle, I think you're looking at me and you're saying, oh, Dr. Steele, he needs me. You know, the class, he needs me. I can tell you, Musa, I know you're looking at me and I know you're saying, no, he needs me. I have Nigeria. I can give him I know what he needs. I know what he needs. I can help him. Barrister is looking and Barrister is saying, I know he needs me. I can help him. He's a good man. I like him. He's a good man. I'm going to help him. Olukoya is looking at me and Olukoya is happy for what I've done for him. And Olukoya is thinking, don't worry. I know I am going to do for him. He needs me. The Reverend Daniel as an elder is sitting down and proud of me and appreciating me and thinking, I can make this young man great. I know I can make this young man great. I can work with this young man. I can help him. Bishop Comfort is looking at me and thinking, this young man has so much potential. I wish I met him when I was a lot younger. Oh my God, what I would do with him, the things that this young man would be doing because I see such a young man. And you are looking at me, you don't need me. You see that what you could do for me. Her Excellency Victoria is talking to her husband about me. Oh, he's such a nice young man. Oh, the Lord bless him. I really appreciate him. He's working with his marriage. He's such a good example for young men and women with marriages. He's such a nice man. And I like how he speaks. I like he's consistent. I can work with him. I could help him. Am I talking? If I'm talking true, wave at me. Wave at me if I'm telling the truth, please. Wave at me if I'm telling the truth. All of you are thinking how you could help me. And guess what? I'm sitting down thinking, all of you need me. Why? I'm sitting down thinking all of you need me. There's something that I have that I can give to you that you need. All of you. What am I trying to say? We are all leaders. That's why we are all together. That's why we are all here. And all of us are doing the same very thing. Guess what it is? Waiting for the opportunity to show each other. Golden Eagle, you're waiting for an opportunity to show me how much you want to bless me. Golden Eagle, trust me, if my ship land before you, you will jump out of your shoes. Barrister, you're thinking on what can I do for this man of God? Barrister, if my ship land before yours, you will jump out of your socks. I'm not waiting for none of y'all to make me look good. And none of y'all are not waiting for me to make none of y'all look good. Y'all already look good. Come on, somebody. Wave at me if I'm telling the truth and I'm not fooling myself. There's some individuals that they take me and they don't know they haven't chosen me. I have chosen them. They have not chosen me. I'm not interested. I am great all by myself. I sit down in a room by myself and I am titillated with how awesome I am. Come on, somebody. Talk to me in the class of Steele. Bishop Comfort, I can bet you see how awesome you are and how powerful you are, and you thank God because of what you could do. Doreen, you sit down and you look at who you are. Come on, somebody. Every single individual have one thing in this group. All of you are great and powerful. I don't need any of us in this group. You could leave the class of Steele and it is not going to affect you one iota because the trajectory that you are already on is success. You are already going to be successful with or without me. But there's something that I have. And what is it that I have? I have a little bit of an X factor. The X factor means the same thing that Jesus had. He said to his disciples, greater things that you see me do, you should do also. Why? Because I go to my Father. Are you with me? What was Jesus really saying? Greater things that you see me do, you will do. Why? Because I'm not going to be around. So you will have to do it. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. He says, well, I go to my Father to prepare a place for you. I will be busy. I will be busy. So I will not have time to be dealing with you. So what will I do? I'll send you a comforter. And what does the comforter do? He does what? Bring things to your remembrance. Come on, somebody. Wave at me if I'm talking okay. A lot of you cry, oh, my mentor has died. Oh, how am I going to make it? Rehoboki is gone. Hey. Billy Graham is gone. Hey. How am I going to make it? You don't have a choice. It's in you. greater things that Rehoboam do, or greater things that Miss Wigglesworth do, you will do. Are you getting it? You have a DNA factor that I want you to clock into. Stop thinking you need the class of Steele. Nobody don't need the class of Steele if you're a leader. You don't need the class of Steele. The class of Steele needs you. Do you understand? The class of Steele needs you. I don't need you. I, Bishop Steele, don't need you. Because this is costing me. Listen to what I'm saying to you. I want you to get what I'm saying to you and teaching you. Doreen, you do not need me. This is costing you time and effort. Listen to me. You need to recognize who you are. That's what you need. To recognize who you are and how to function as your best DNA self. A lot of times, your DNA is rebelling. Oh, I don't want you around this person. Oh, but he's a good man. He's an honorable man. Your DNA. Every time you go around the person, you don't like the person. Why? Your DNA knows who is good for you. Come on, somebody. Are you getting what I'm trying to tell you? Your DNA knows who is good for you and who's not. If you go around someone and you don't feel good, you don't feel like, hey, when I go to Barrister's church and when I was in Reverend Bright's church, my goodness, Reverend Bright, if you have a small 4x8 and 6 single people are in there, Reverend Bright, I come in because why? I want to preach in the presence of my brother that is in unity with me. That when I preach, my God, you are saying amen. Why are you saying amen? Because you agree with me. Why are you praising and blessing? Because you agree with me. Why are you celebrating? Because you agree with me. Your whole body says, "Ooh, I like this." Your ears like the sound. Your eyes like the sight. He looks good. Come on, somebody. How many of you know that beauty is not a fat person or a thin person, a tall person or a short person? Beauty is in the revelation that your spirit gives you about that person, that gives you a vibe. Come on, somebody. That's why they say beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Your body gives you a good feeling when you're around that person. Oh, do you see how she looks? Oh, God. Oh, God. Hey. But it's not about how they look. It's not about how they look. It's how they make you feel. Are you with me? Your DNA is comfortable. Your DNA is comfortable. Oh, why don't we have any children? We've been trying for children for so many years. Your DNA is not comfortable. The DNA isn't comfortable. So it's not going to gel. She's not going to take that seed and turn it into an egg, and turn it into a child. She's not. Why? The DNA isn't comfortable. Are you hearing what I'm saying to you? The DNA isn't comfortable. It's rebelling. But how many of you know sometimes a person goes and they make a mistake, quote unquote, and then poops, they're pregnant. Why? Because their whole body, their whole DNA, oh, this is what I want. This is what I need. This is exactly what I've been looking for. Your whole DNA celebrates and says, yes. And then everything works together. That's why me and Jeannie have Josh. My body says yes, and Jeannie's body said yes. And we said, hey, let's do this. And now pops Josh. Are you comfortable in yourself? There's some of you that go around people that you don't like being around them. Stop destroying your DNA. Stop going around them. It's simple. Am I making sense what I'm saying? Don't go around them. You are destroying your own morale because you're lying to yourself. You're telling lies. You don't like being around the person. But you're showing face. Oh, I want to be a nice one. I'm a Christian. Dude, if God lives in me and I don't like you, something is wrong. Then I will tell you, the God in me don't like the God in you. So there's a problem. Are you getting it? Your DNA is going to warn you. It's going to guide you. He's going to instruct you. Why are you listening to my teaching? Because a lot of you are rebelling against the teaching you already have. Oops, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but forgive me. That's why you're listening to my teaching. Because some of you are rebelling against the teaching you've had. Why? Because the teaching you've had have you the way you are, and your DNA is rebelling against the way you are. And you now feel comfortable in this environment. Am I making sense what I'm saying to you? Come on, wave at me if I'm making sense. Guess what? I am now blossoming into who I'm supposed to be. That's the truth. I'm now blossoming into who I am supposed to be. Because I am no longer interested in how anybody feels about my message. That's not my business. Are you with me? It's not my business how you feel about my message. It's not. That's your DNA to deal with it. Is he saying something that's going to make me better if I change? Or is he saying something that's going to make me bitter if I continue listening to him? I'll say that again. Is he saying something that's going to make me better if I change? Or is he saying something that's going to make me bitter if I keep listening to him? That's up to you. Are you going to become better or bitter? It's up to you. So it's called the DNA rebellion. But I also want to talk to you about the DNA rebirth. We just talked about the rebellion. Now let's talk about the DNA rebirth. What is the DNA rebirth? The DNA rebirth is when you start practicing those things that feel good. If you get what I'm saying. You start practicing the things that feel good. All of a sudden, you're doing what feels good. You're doing what makes you feel complete. And bear with me. You see, change does not always feel good. Listen to what I'm saying carefully. Listen to what I'm saying carefully. What feels good is the fact that you like what you're going to become. Are you with me? The changing does not feel good. Don't get me wrong. The changing does not feel good. What feels good is that you are embracing and liking the change that you're doing or you're bringing about or you're making happen. It's called a rebirth. When you go into the gym You look at yourself and you see that you are a particular way, you want to look a different way. When you go into the gym and you start lifting your weights, you're lifting your weights. Why? Because you want to look the way you want to. It's going to hurt you, but you are liking what is happening to you. It's called the rebirth. Are you willing to identify and acknowledge the rebellion within yourself and position yourself for rebirth? I'll ask the question again. Are you willing to recognize and observe the rebellion that is happening within yourself and embrace the rebirth process? Because the rebirth is all about first identifying something needs to die. So if one attitude needs to die, it means you need to what? Birth a new attitude. So if you allow something to die, the process of rebirth takes time. Are you with me? To become the Michael that I was 5 years ago took time, process. Took a lot of hurt and rejection and disappointment and fears and anxieties and worries and trepidations. All of these things were part of me observing the rebellion that is going on. And now I'm at this place of a rebirth. I'm at this place of observing the person that I like being. I like being nice. I like being kind. Oh, but you're too kind. If you continue to be so kind, people are going to take advantage of you. Then I will get over the taking advantage of. I'll get over that. But I like being kind. Oh, but people are going to keep hurting you. So do I need to learn to be unkind, or do I need to learn to manage hurt when people treat me unkind? What do I need to manage? I've got to learn and decide that for myself. And I rather learn managing how to deal with people who cannot appreciate kindness and love and grace than deal with changing from being a nice, kind, hospitable, gentle human being that I am. Are you with me what I'm saying? A lot of people become something else because of external pressures and because of how people respond and how people react, and they become something else. And when they become something or someone else, then they get to a stage where they go through a rebellion and they break down. And you see them crying, oh, I don't like being the way I am. But why are you so mean to people? Oh my goodness, you're so mean. Hey, why are you like that? And they're inside of their closets crying their eyeballs out. Oh God, God, I don't like being so mean. God, I don't like being so cruel. Oh God, this is not me. Of course it is not you. So stop being a rebellious person and be yourself. Learn how to deal with individuals who make you feel the way you feel. Am I making sense? Listen to me. I have done it in the class of Steele as an example, and I want you to get it. I am a master at making you feel good when I have absolutely no interest in any further communication or connection with you, because I'm going to leave you and I have absolutely no desire whatsoever to allow you to cause me the pain you cause me. Are you hearing me? Why? Because I'm not going to allow you to cause me to judge the next person that comes along the way you were. I'm not going to allow you to cause me to be mean to individuals. I'm not going to allow you to cause me to be selfish and unkind because you treated me this way because I was kind and I was loving. You will not have that power over me to change me. Are you hearing what I'm saying? A lot of you have stopped being nice and gentle and loving because somebody wounded you. Somebody hurt you. I almost said somebody hurted you. Because somebody hurted you badly. And all of a sudden, you are operating from a hurted perspective, from a hurted paradigm. Come on, somebody. Barrister, you know these words. You're no longer, things are no longer copacetic. You need to Google that word. It's a real word. Things are no longer copacetic. They are now what? Chaotic and catastrophic. No longer copacetic. Because somebody wounded you. And now everybody that comes near to you, guess what? No longer are you open arms with a pillow hug and cuddle, but all of a sudden you're And then when you get home, your wife asks you, hey, why are you like that? Darling, it's not you now. Hey, I know it's not me, but you remember what XY did to me? You remember what ABC did to me? DNA rebellion. DNA rebellion. Come on, somebody. Is this class a good class or what? You need to get out of it. You need to get to the place of the rebirth. And you need to appreciate something else about the rebirth. It's 9:58 and I'm going to give you a couple of points about the rebirth. And they're very important points. The Bible said you must be born again. You see, y'all are Christians and students of the Word of God. So I could use scripture because y'all would identify with scripture. You must be born again. What does being born again mean? What does the DNA rebirth speak about? The DNA rebirth speaks about something that is very important. Rebirth speaks about original blueprint. What does the original blueprint mean? You are now what? Vulnerable. Write that word down. Vulnerable. Write it down. You're vulnerable. You are also impressionable. Impressionable. You're no longer approaching situations and persons like, oh, the way you look, oh, what tribe are you from? Oh, you're Igbo. I know Igbo people. Oh. Hey, I know Igbo people. What tribe are you from? Oh, I'm a Tiff. Hey! He's a Fulani. Hey! No one has the ability to make an impression on you because you already do what? Have your mind made up. So you're not impressionable. An Igbo man cannot be an honest man with integrity. He's always a businessman with an agenda. Some of you will look at me and dare to say to me, but Bishop, that's true. You might dare to look at me and say that. Bishop, but that is true. Every Igbo I know is like that. You do not know every Igbo. Have I made sense what I just said? Come on, somebody. I really want you to get what I'm saying. You do not know every Igbo. Every single human being on the face of the earth is unique in his DNA design by the Creator himself. Every single tribe is going to have some phenomenal individuals and some scoundrels. Every single community is going to have some wonderful people and some horrible people. Do not label individuals according to your what? Past teaching or experience or exposure. Don't dare tell me that every white man is the same. Don't you dare tell me that. It's not true. Don't dare tell me that every black man is the same. It's not true. Don't dare tell me everybody in the class still wants the same thing, because I already know that. You all want the same thing. What do you all want? Everybody wants to be better than they were when they came in. Everybody wants to be better. Some of you want to be better by getting resources, and when you think you get what you got or what you want, you go. Some of you think you want a better attitude, a better character, and when you get what you want, you go. Some of you want more money and are waiting for that big contract or that big opportunity, and when you think you get it, you go. But all of us want what? To be better. All of us. So the next point to take note of is you're also going to have to reopen your trust doors. A lot of you have closed your trust doors. I don't trust this person. I don't trust that person. How many of you know as an ambassador, you go into strange countries, you got to trust folks. You got to learn to trust. You've got to. I'm going to close. I'm going to close. And I'm going to open for questions because I want you to ask me questions. Step out of the box. Don't think a question is a stupid question or a dumb question. Never do that. I used to do that and go away none the wiser. And I started getting wiser when I started asking questions and studying more. Ask me, I'm your teacher. I'm here. Class is dismissed. If you're ready to go, you're free to go. But ask me what you want to know. Are there any questions? Or am I such a great teacher that I believe nobody has no question? Come on, Musa, go ahead. I see Barrister. Barrister, I'll come to you after. You get brave, Barrister. It's all right. I don't mind you talking all the time, Barrister. That's what I'll say, but I love you. Go ahead, Musa. Unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you very much, Your Excellency. It has been a very, very interesting topic, and the teaching is well understood. And from your teaching, I come to understand that DNA is somehow synonymous to our reactions to things and possible behaviors. So what I want to ask, what is could be the difference between DNA and temperaments when it comes to our reactions to things or the way we behave? So that's my question,
Well, let's
sir.
put it this way. I understand your question, and I'm going to answer you this way, Musa.
All right, sir.
You asked me a very interesting question. DNA response versus temperament response.
Yes, sir.
And let me explain it this way. Your DNA is responsible for your temperament. If you're melancholic, if you're sanguine, if you're phlegmatic, if you are whatever you are, choleric, whatever you are, your DNA is responsible for that. You choose to change your response based on your culturing. For example, if you pinch somebody that is small and they go, rah, 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 that's a natural response. What happens is somebody might say in this environment, that response is not acceptable, change how you respond. You're
Okay.
not changing your DNA. Listen to me. You're not
Yes, sir.
changing your DNA. You are
Yes, sir.
changing your response to stimuli. You're changing your response to stimuli. And response to stimuli is based on culturing. However, there is a natural DNA response to stimuli that if you neglect your culturing and your teaching, you fall into it. So for example, there are some individuals that might see me and they might test me in some environments. And if I choose to respond, like when me and Barrister have a meeting and me and His Excellency Donald Ewers have a meeting and we discuss the best approach for this is this, I will go against my what? DNA. I will go against who Bishop Michael really is and allow that person to experience a response that is going to give me the same results that I want. That is the result that I want. I don't want you around me anymore. So there are two ways to do that. DNA response, which is blasting you and letting go, and you see, hey, I don't want to be around him. Not if he behaves like that.
Okay.
That's my DNA. Your DNA creates the element and the ability for you to get the result you need. But also, your culturing and your training gives you the ability to articulate what you need to get the same result. So what do I do? I will say to you, please, your services are no longer needed. Let us part ways indefinitely. And I will get the same result. Have I answered your question?
Very well, sir. Well understood indeed. Thank you, sir.
And I also want to say something to you, Musa. You are a very intelligent man.
Sir.
Stop testing me. You need to stop testing me. You are a very intelligent man. You need to stop
It is well, sir. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going for my next test because you see, Barrister is so excited. I know Barrister thinks he's going to give me a hard one, and Golden Eagle is just sitting, waiting for it. Olukoya is looking at him. Come on, Barrister, bring it on.
Well, I have to commend you first, Your Excellency, for being a great teacher. And, when you talked about response to stimuli, I was really impressed because it's in line with one of the questions. But then I have to start by disagreeing with you, with all due respect. Not totally agreeing with you when you said that we don't need the class of Steele. I believe we need ourselves. Yes, sir. Yeah, is like a blend. We need a class of Steele. The class of Steele needs us. So it's not a one-way traffic. It's a two-way traffic. And I believe that is the reason we're here in the class of Steele, to learn, to improve, to interact, because we need ourselves to move to our God's ordained place in life. That is the reason God wired us and connected us to the class of Steele. Then second, I would like you to further talk more. You said it yourself when you talked about Paul, talking about, oh, wretched man he was, when he said the things he doesn't want to do, he sees himself doing it. How does that connect with our DNA? How does that blend with our DNA?
Well,
yes. And talk, I would also like you to link our DNA with our purpose in life, our God's given purpose in life. I'd like you to probably throw more light in that area. Is there a nexus, a connect between the DNA and our God's given purpose?
Okay. The first point that you made, I want to address was the point about the class of Steele, you not needing the class of Steele, and me as a person not needing you. I want to qualify what I really want to nail home in our thinking. A lot of times we don't recognize that, and I'm going to do it from a Christian perspective or a biblical perspective. The Bible said He has given us all things pertaining to life and godliness. Is that correct? All things. He's given, we already have them. All things pertaining to life and godliness. And godliness speak, and I'm going to take it into the context because this is not a Christian verse or a Muslim verse. This is a human verse. Okay? It's a human verse. All human beings have been given all things pertaining to life and human existence or godliness. Godliness means the ability to create. That's what godly is all about. The ability to create, the ability to do and to will and to exercise. He's given those things to us. That's one. So my take on the class of Steele does not need you, or you don't need the class of Steele. My statement was just to create the understanding that you have a choice. And if this is not a part of your choice, it does not exempt you from reaching your highest potential. It does not exempt you from being your highest, greatest, who you are going to be. The buck does not stop here. You don't need to come here for that to happen. That's how I want to qualify it. Equally, who my highest potential and ideal is going to be fulfilled without you or with you. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, the second question, the second point that you brought to the table was pertaining to Paul. And Paul, the things that he does not do, and the things he wants to, and you wanted to have an understanding on how does that work pertaining to your DNA and also the purpose, as in who Paul was. And what that is what Paul was trying to say. Remember the key thing that Paul said, and the key thing about Paul, or rather, let's do it this way, the key thing about Saul. He was a learned man. He was very learned. He was very educated. He was very, very knowledgeable. He was well taught, and he was well academically inclined. He was well respected. He was an authority that when he says it, it has power. So basically, all that he had become, he now finds that now this new rebirth, this new revelation, this new interpretation, this new man who came on the earth and is saying he is the God, he is the one, is as though he learned about blaspheming. And this is, whoa, but now his body is saying this is not blaspheming when he knows that that's blasphemous from his teaching. So he's rebelling against the reality, but that's not who I am. That's not what I believe. That's not what I stand for. That's not what I agree with. So Paul in his teaching nature, and I use the word for lack of a better word, in his teaching or learned nature, is rebelling against the new revelation of Paul. There is something in you that I know. that you don't know. Why? Because it got clouded with your teaching. It got hidden with your religion. It got hidden with those that you socialized with. It got disrupted with your culture. It got disrupted with your finances, your wealth. All of these things hid who you are. So now there's a rebellion going on. A DNA rebellion. The real Paul, the real man that's in there, there's a DNA rebellion. So you need to do what? Be born again. You need to have a new birth. Is that acceptable? Okay, so let me answer the final point.
Perfectly.
And the final point that you made, which is really a good point that you made is does our DNA embrace or encompass or inculcate or have wrapped up inside of it our divine purpose on the earth? First thing I want to tell you is this. If you become a carpenter, a plumber, a mason, a preacher, apostle, that has absolutely nothing to do with your divine purpose on the earth. Let me tell you what your DNA purpose on the earth is. Are you ready? You should write it down. Yeah. Your DNA purpose on the earth is to survive. That's it. That's it. Whatever it takes to do what? Survive. Your DNA is wrapped up with how to avoid fear, because how to avoid situations so that you don't die. If you stand at the top of a building and it's too tall, your DNA is going to tell you, brethren, somewhere inside of here, something tells me that if you fall off of this building, you are going to end your purpose on the earth. Your purpose on the earth is finished. What does it mean? You will not survive. The people that you associate with, if you continue to associate with these toxic people doing these toxic things, it's going to kill you. And your purpose on the earth is going to be completed. What is your purpose on the earth? To survive. That's all your purpose on the earth is. Anything else you do is learned, cultured, and choice. Everything else you do is choice. Barrister, I hope I have answered all three of your questions.
Completely, sir, completely.
Any comment on
100%. 100%. I was also wondering, in terms of the biblical saying that it is God that works in us, both to will and to do of his good pleasure. How does that equally affect our DNA?
Barrister, you're trying to justify. Father God, I'm going to pray for you, Barrister, before I answer you. Father God, I pray that you will give Barrister a challenging question that Barrister would go off and says, I got it. Now, I will answer your question. Is there a verse in Psalms that said, have not I said ye are gods? Now leave it alone, Barrister. I'm not going to go any deeper. Leave that alone. Go and chew on that one. Please leave it alone. I love you all. Have I answered you, Barrister?
Thank you so much.
Have I answered
Perfectly.
you?
Thank you so much. The Lord bless you immensely. You have. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Barrister,
Thank you, sir.
And I also answered you when I said to you, what did Jesus say? I go to be with my Father. I go to prepare a place. What did he say? I leave you so you can do it by yourself because it is already in you. You are what? You are just like me. And greater things that you see me do, you will do. What does it mean? It means that you have the capacity and the ability to create, to design, to develop, to make God look and say, wow. You can wow God. And I don't mean wow God by saying that you make God think that it's something he didn't know about. What I mean is you make God proud, or you make the creator look down and says, wow, I think that God is so awestruck when he looks at Dubai, the city Dubai, to see, look at what man has done. Look at the beauty. Look at the structures. Look at them. Look at the beauty. I think God is pleased when he sees ministers causing people to be successful. People that didn't think they were going to be successful, that didn't think, I think he's really like, wow, I'm proud of you. Because he gives you the power to do that. He gives you the ability to do it. Use it. The glass of steel is filled with power. All of your abilities. What are you going to do? Are you going to wow the world with the glass of steel? I'm going to do my best. Are you going to play your part? Golden Eagle, are there any questions from you, Golden Eagle? Golden Eagle, you can't sit and look at me and make me feel as though I'm, come on, Golden Eagle. Haven't I challenged you?
Yeah, Your Excellency, you are on point, very down to earth. I love what I'm hearing this night. You have spoken, and you have spoken well. The teaching on DNA and the questions that came, that they all asked the questions that was in my mind: DNA and purpose, DNA and temperament, and you just answer it as God put it in your spirit. I think I am blessed. I am blessed listening to you, your work, hearing. Thank you, all the class of Steele, Dr. Witcher and Musa, for all the contribution and the questions. I am excited and elated being the class of Steele tonight. I've missed the class for about a week plus. Not because I feel like missing it, but I just have to face some things squarely and bounce back strong. I think I'm back strong, and I'm capable to take the mountain now. Thank you so much, Your Excellency. I am excited listening to you, and God bless you and bless Jenny for standing behind us. But I mean, behind us, the class of C. Josh, for some time. I know that I'm missing all of them. The Lord bless us all. We are going to become something. We're going to be a voice. God is preparing us for something bigger, something greater. Thank you. I'm proud to be a member of the class of Steele. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, the Golden Eagle. Thank you so very much. Olukoya, are there any questions from you? Any questions on today's discussion?
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. It's well spelled out and a very great teaching. Um, I just want you to clarify the aspects of having a very good sense of worth, as against um, arrogance, even as it relates to all that you have said tonight, sir. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Thank you for that question. It's a good point. Not just a question, but it's also a point. Arrogance is, I'm going to answer it this way, if I may. They have persons that exercise authority, and then there are persons that look at that person and say they are a controlling person or they're a control freak. When the person might not be a controlling person, the person might just be a person who understands how to exercise authority, and individuals find themselves submitting or succumbing to the teaching or the instructions or the guidance. And other persons on the outside would say that person is a controlling person or a control freak. Other persons would say, oh, he's such a professional person and he has such a way of exercising authority. Are you with me? Arrogance is one of those words as well. Sometimes when an individual is very confident, confidence sometimes can come across to others as arrogance. And individuals could say, oh, Dr. Steele, you are so arrogant. You know how you say, I will not do this, and you behave so arrogant, like you are God, like who do you think you are? Well, there's a thin line. There's a thin line. If you see it as arrogant, then as far as I'm concerned personally, I want you to get the reality that about certain things, if that's the case, I do not care. I am not interested. I have no concern. And to say that culturally might sound arrogant, but it's being genuine, it's being real, it's not being arrogant, it's just telling it genuinely like it is. And because we are trained in a culture where people are more prone to say, don't speak your mind, you don't let people know. Because if you let people know, people think you're arrogant. For example, I know some very wealthy people and they don't have the time of day for people that want to waste their time. They're not arrogant. They're too busy to focus on individuals that are going to waste their time. They're too busy. I, as a businessman, am going to see it as, well, I'm sorry if you see you as arrogant. I don't see you as arrogant, Your Excellency. I see you as a leader that don't have time to waste with individuals. You've been through it and you want to be very focused on what you're dealing with. You're not arrogant. You just don't have time to waste. So you have to determine in yourself as an individual, are you being arrogant? If somebody sees you as arrogant, that's for them to determine. That's for them to decide. But as an individual, you have to look and think, oh, come on. You didn't need to talk to the person that way. That wasn't necessary. You're being arrogant now. You have to look at yourself and see that, you know what, that's true. That was a little bit arrogant the way I said that. As a matter of fact, there have been times that His Excellency Donald Ewers, our Chief of Protocol, have reprimanded me in some of my teaching and some of the things I see as being arrogant. And when he said it to me, I had to go into my closet and look at my intentions in my heart and determine, am I being arrogant or am I just really telling the truth and hope that you get it? For example, if I say to an individual, if you dare to overstay in the country that I invite you to, I will call the police for you. Am I being arrogant? Am I being arrogant? If I say, if you dare to do this and do that, I will cut you off. Am I being arrogant if I say that? Or should I not say it, and when it happens, and I have to release you of your duties, then you recognize, oh my, there's a different approach. So I think the statement of arrogance is not one that I want to discuss and debate at that level. I think it is one where you have to ask yourself, am I being arrogant? And if someone said you were arrogant, look at how you said it and think, could you have said it a better way? Because sometimes we can. Sometimes our tone, sometimes our mannerisms, sometimes, all of those things are things that add to determining whether we're behaving arrogant or humble. But again, a lot of those things are personality and character and just who we are as individuals. I hope I answered your question, Olukoya, to the best of my ability.
Yeah, yes, sir. I also wanted you to add, as we look at the issue of DNA and all of that, the aspect of good sense of worth, good sense of worth, because you have actually answered part of that good sense of worth as you are explaining the arrogance. But I still want you to elaborate on the good sense of worth based on the DNA that we carry, sir. Thank you, Your Excellency.
Okay. most of us are in a zone where we are finding ourselves. From our birth, we are trying to find our place. Everybody's trying to find their place, all of us. And one of the things about worth is very interesting. Worth is based on value. That's also strange. For example, as a mentor, if you value what I'm teaching because it's nuggets of truths that are valuable, then it increases my personal acknowledgement of my worth. Do you understand? Because I feel worthwhile. Worthwhile meaning I feel worth the time you're in my presence. It's been a while and it has been worth it. It was worthwhile. So worth is based on where are you valued? In your home, if your children love you, your wife love you, then you are very worthwhile to your family. As Paul said of one of the servants, he said he was what? Profitable to me or worthwhile to me. Profitable or worthwhile. So you look at your worth based on where you are. My wife is exceptionally worthwhile, exceptionally. I cannot do, Jeannie, I hope you know how worthwhile you are. Every moment I spend with you is worth it. Every moment, from the baby making moments to the moments of teaching, every moment. So you have to appreciate your own personal worth by identifying where you are valued. And if you want to increase in worth, you reduce the places where you are not valued. Reduce going where you're not valued, and you will find yourself increasing in worth. But it's not really that you're increasing in worth, it is really that your awareness of your worth is increasing and you're feeling better about yourself in that particular environment. I hope that I have answered your question. And by the way, Olukoya, you are very worthwhile to me in the class of Steele. Your Excellency, Doreen, I'm going to close. I'm going to close shortly, officially. Your Excellency, Doreen, are you there?
Yes, good evening to you all. Sorry, I had just stepped out briefly. Yes, Doctor, what were you saying? I just need to catch up.
It's all right. You're worth a while. It's okay. What I just wanted you to kind of give a sense of your take on the class this evening. How was it for you, the bit that you've heard, and has it added value to you? Are there any questions or any comments?
Yes, I want to comment. I want to comment. There is a part of the discussion where you say that you allow individuals must allow themselves to operate to their fullest, to their greatest DNA potential. And this is what I'm experiencing with you while working with me, working closer. So I realize you're actually, you're allowing me to operate to my fullest DNA potential. And so I feel more confident in many of the things that I'm doing. And you probably don't immediately communicate to me that this is probably not the right way to do it, but you allow me to make some mistakes, and later on you say you would do this way. So I am here to testify that this is what I am experiencing working with Dr. Michael Steele closely. And I love it. Thank you very much. You are the true mentor I have been waiting for. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
You know, we don't do things wrong. Here's something that's very interesting to know. We do not do things wrong. We do things according to our interpretation, awareness, or understanding. Are you with me? And so it's not you do things wrong. It is you just did it according to the exposure, teaching, or understanding that you've had. And when you allow someone to tell you why they did it the way they did it, you would realize they did not do it wrong. They just did it to the best of their ability. And then what you do is say, okay, let me show you another way. And I like the way you acknowledge that that's what I do, because it actually is how I operate with individuals. My wife and I, as a matter of fact, don't let me speak for my wife. I'm gonna bring her a minute to say something. Darling, prepare yourself briefly to say something, if you may. Just briefly, darling. Prepare yourself. My son Joshua is 6 years old, and he teaches me him, because I know that he comes with as a full package. He comes knowing what he comes with knowledge and ability. And I just need to spend time listening to why he does what he does. And sometimes after I correct him for doing something wrong, I cry, because he tells me why he did it. And the honest truth is not about it. He did it with the right reason, with his limited understanding. Do you get what I'm saying? And those of us that have kids recognize that kids are not intently wicked. They just do it according to their interpretation of the dynamics surrounding the potential outcome. And then we are the ones, as the parents, that recognize, no, the bad outcome, and we correct as a result of that. But what we should do is show a different way. And that's how I'm learning. Darling, am I right in saying that I show a different way? How am I as a husband to you? And darling, please unmute yourself.
Good night, everyone.
Darling, I'm going to come and get Josh to relieve you.
I'm sorry. I was listening, but I got a bit distracted because of dealing with Josh, and he was a bit noisy. So I am not totally aware of where you're at the moment.
Am I a good teacher by listening and learning what you've done wrong or done the other way and showing another way? As a husband, am I that type of person? Or do I have errors and things that need correcting? Please be yourself and don't be me.
Don't be you. I don't think I can't not be you, because I am partly you, really, partly each other. So I can't not be you. My responses oftentimes are a reflection of what you would say. Oh gosh, what's your question again? I'm sorry, I'm so distracted.
As a teacher, how do you find me as a husband teacher? Should I use the term for when you do things another way? I think I want to use that term, another way. How do you find me as a teacher?
I find you quite helpful, though at times, what did I say? Though at times, sometimes you may help me in a way that I wasn't anticipating. And it kind of throw me off a bit. But because we talk so much and I'm always willing to learn and listen to you explaining what it is that you're trying to show me. And then when I get it, then I understand why you would say what you would say. At times you still allow me to do what I was going to do. And then, but the truth is, when we do it together, like when you add to what I had already done, it sounds much better. It really does work. It just gels together. So that's why I really prefer to come to you with any and everything that I'm doing, because when you add to it, it just gets better. So I think you're a great teacher. You're a great teacher.
Darling, the reason why I do a lot of this is because you so believe in me that one day I feel like I turn into Obama and rule USA as the president.
That will be the day, a great day. Yeah, I agree.
Thank you, darling. I love you dearly.
Too.
So here's the thing in closing. If you practice it in home, and wherever you go, just be yourself. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to prove any point. Greatness is not, you have to be great or you don't have to be great. Just be yourself. Find your truest self and be yourself. The last person I'm going to ask to say something tonight is His Excellency Donald Ewers, and then I'm going to sign off because our class has gone on quite well into time, but I want to bring our class to a close this evening to our international audience who are equally seeing this on YouTube as well. Your Excellency Donald Ewers, kindly lend your voice to the discussion this evening. And it's a sad thing that I'm not seeing you. I hope all is well.
A pleasant good evening, Your Excellency. No, it's not working on my laptop. Your code, for some reason, is not coming through. I don't know what's wrong. So I'm on my phone, and that's the only connection I have. I don't know. Every time I put in all the numbers, it's not bringing me through for some reason on the Zoom. However, so going back to your DNA class session teaching today, yes, my takes on it is sometimes with our DNA and how we communicate with each other, we would say the approach, how we deliver. For example, let me deal with me and you. The other day we were on the phone talking about Dubai and the getting things sorted and the traveling together, etc., from the UK. And then you said something slightly to me and said, "Don't worry." And to me, I said, "Oh God, please, Bishop, don't use that word, don't worry. I'm absolutely not worrying about nothing. Don't use another word, use a different approach." So the approach sometimes can irritate somebody, or it can make somebody feel nervous, or it can stir something in their past, or it can sound like a negative quotation. And when you use the word "don't worry," to me, I maybe take it literal. To you, it's a catchphrase. To you, it's just, oh, it's just passing word. But to the next person, it's not. Don't worry. I am not worrying, Mr. Bishop. But to me, it come across what said, "Oh, why are you taking it that way?" But it's how it evoke a certain emotion in another person. So our approach at times in our communication skills can sometimes offend, can sometimes make the person feel belittled. Not using the word, I don't want to take it out of context because I'm using the word "don't worry," but I'm using statements in the sense of what we would say in my nature of work when I used to work in NHS is we can't use a blanket statement for every individual. Some people you can crush them. Some people they can go home and can't sleep because of how they approach on what we say. So our DNA is different from everybody. Everybody's DNA, and some people had some issues that they've been dealing with from their youth, things that they been through, trauma, etc., etc. And so everybody is different, and each individual is different, and each individual is different. Even though you said we are all leaders, even though you said we are all great people, we all have areas that we need to develop. We all have areas that we need to grow. We all have areas that you never see in that way. You can see some couple, husband and wife, and the way the man speak to the wife, it's, oh God, that's a bit harsh. That's a bit so. But the man doesn't mean that. But to the outside person, we say, oh God, I don't know how that woman put up with that man, or that woman put up with her husband, or vice versa. But they have a communication, they have a platform that they understand each other. And that's another language you look at, understanding each other or understanding things. Have you noticed some managers, they don't have any communication skills with their staff? And the staff can't stand the managers, and yet there's it could be a good person, but he doesn't have any what do you call it, skills, interpersonal skills. And so therefore some of us, there's certain skills or tools, and this is where you come in, and this is where you sharpen us, and this is where we develop as well with our skills and our how we coping, our coping mechanism in within our DNA. So, sir, well said, well put together. But my only take in it, it depends on the approach. We have the soft approach and we hard approach. And I don't know if because you're a leader, Bishop Steele, but some of your approach can come across quite harsh. And sometimes it's nice to use the soft approach. And even though I'm a grown, strong man, or my skeleton or my approach, my persona may come across as a tough man, I could be soft. And I've learned those skills with dealing with people that you sometimes people can go home feeling hurt or go home feeling, or why did Bishop Steele say that, or why did my mentors say that? And some people are very sensitive. So we have to also be sensitive to other people and their feelings and their emotions, that they don't go away feeling wounded or feeling less of a person, because every individual is different. And that's just my taking on it, sir. I hope it hasn't took it out of context.
Well, thank you so very much for that. And I will sincerely say I have a number of words in my vocabulary. As a matter of fact, that even my father was always saying, oh, Michael, stop telling me don't worry. I'm not worrying, Michael. Stop telling me don't worry. And I think there's some things that are just in us from our youth. Equally, I always say to individuals, let me tell you the truth. Truthfully, to be honest. And they says, were you telling me lies before? But there's certain statements that we use that they just stick with us. And on the note of being harsh, I think that I deal with warriors. And when you're dealing with warriors, everybody cannot mentor warriors. Soldiers that are going through boot camp and they're getting cuts and they're bashing their head and they have the, you know, when they're going through boot camps, all sorts of cut from the cap wire and different things like that. Everybody can't mentor individuals at a certain level. And there's a level of, I don't want to use the word harshness, but there's a level of hammer that needs to be given when you're mentoring leaders, not mentoring kids and babies, but leaders. And all of us as leaders have the same very thing that babies have. When we meet a greater leader that shouts too hard, it hurts us. And we have that at all levels, because equally, I have those individuals that when they speak to me, they bring tears to my eyes. As a young man, and as much as I might be seen as a great leader, I have other leaders that make me feel like I'm a small babe as well sometimes. So I guess there needs to be a balance.
Yes.
And I need to build that relationship with all of those who are with me, of intimacy, of understanding. When you're speaking to some of us in a normal one-on-one, there's a different approach than when you're speaking to the whole class. I prefer to speak to the whole class and say to my students, don't take it personal, because I know that some of you, it's going to hurt badly, and others, you will be able to handle it. And there are those that after all of my training globally from the time I was younger, there are many leaders that they come to me and they say how I really hit them real hard, but it was good. So we need to kind of, I as a mentor need to work on that skill as well. And I do take on board what you say to me, and I will continue to try to be a bit softer. But I don't want to get to the place where I become too soft, that I'm just like anybody else, and then I have people falling through the chute of discipline, authority, and what I expect as a leader. Because I'm not a pushover as a leader, neither do I want to be somebody that is a run over everybody. I still want to have that level of humility and softness that I could receive when somebody said you hurt me and says I'm sorry. And with that, I want to say to you, Your Excellency, that if I, when I say things that are strong, always correct me, because I do not want to ever think that I have reached. I'm never going to reach. I want to die and be aiming for that place where I will reach. So thank you so very much for that contribution, Your Excellency. It was well received. And you and I have some deep, tight conversations. And I want individuals to know that we are real. What you see, people, I want people to know what I say in my house and how I live in my home and on the phone with strangers is the same thing that I teach, because I'm the same person and I try my best to be. So with that being said, I want to thank you for your contribution. And any response on my response before I go, Your Excellency, Donald yours, or is it well?
It is well, sir. It is well. All said, sir. You wrapped it up nicely.
Nice one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, first I want to acknowledge Theresa Hatchett. Theresa, I acknowledge you this evening in the class of Steele. Do you want to greet us? Because I recognize you stood the whole class, you've not moved. So do you want to just acknowledge the class this evening? Just give us an acknowledgement, because I see you there and I don't want to leave without acknowledging you. That's Theresa. Can you unmute, Theresa? All right. Buddy Laurier, thank you so very much for being in the class this evening. Buddy, all the way in Barbados, thank you for being with us. I appreciate you for being here and staying right throughout the class this evening. Okay. And Ambrose, and all our visitors. Alex, thank you for being here. Bishop Comfort, everybody who's been here with cameras off. Reverend Paul, thank you for being here this evening. It's a pleasure. Paul, I'm troubled that you're so quiet. Reverend Paul, don't you have a question or a comment to make this evening? You're very quiet, Your Excellency. Why is this quietness? It's
Your
not
Excellency.
Like...
Your Excellency. I enjoyed the class from beginning to the end. The question I had on mind, Dr. Donald US treated it nicely, so that is why I kept quiet.
All right, well, thank you.
You're already taking care of it. Thank you very much for asking.
You are most welcome. I appreciate you and your being in the class. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Bishop Comfort, I know you were laughing at a couple of comments that I've made, and I just want you to just greet us from Ghana and say good evening to us in the class.
Thank you so much, His Excellency Bishop Dr. Steele. Thank you so much, everybody who is here and listening in. It was a good presentation, and I had a whole lot to talk about. That is why I've been silent. I don't want to start one and then lead others. But I will just pop in just one phrase that, you know, First 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17 tells us that if one is in Christ, it's a new creation. The old nature is past, and the new nature has come. With that passage alone, with the 2 Corinthians 5:17 passage alone, will take us a long way as to the DNA, which aspect we are talking of, or as to the behavioral or character or whatever it is. You know, when one accepts Christ, his old nature is turned to be a new one. Then you ask yourself, if so, then what the old nature that the DNA in that person, for example, if that person was an armed robber or blah, 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 or that negative side, and comes into relationship with Christ, that nature tends to be a different thing. The nature of God comes to live in that person. Then there will be a question and a challenge. You see that hasn't that person behavior changed? That person, one Paul was, elder brother Paul was saying that the things that I did not want to do, I find myself doing. His Excellency, I think it takes more to discuss on this issue. So I don't want to go too much into it. But in the whole, it was a nice presentation. And indeed, you did well. God bless you.
Thank you so very much, my mommy. I appreciate you. On the note of your comment, the key thing you said is relationship. You know, my wife said that she's becoming more like me. As time goes by, the answer she gave is me. And I'm the same. I'm becoming more like my wife as well. We're becoming one together. And I said that to say, any man being in Christ is a new creature. All things are becoming new. It creates an environment where that person has gone to the reset, where I'm talking about the rebirth, and they're now available to be what? Vulnerable again, teachable again, impressionable again. And the relationship is what brings about the change, the responses to the relationship. That's why he says, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. I don't hold to the context that you go into the waters of baptism and you get baptized, and as you come out of the water of baptism, all of a sudden, zap, zoom, you're a totally different person. It doesn't happen like that all the time. There are times when it does, where individuals' will and desire to change become so resolute that they never do the same things again. But there are others who go through the process of relationship, messing up sometimes and repairing and healing. So it's all a process. And I think that I would leave it at that for now, based on the dynamics. But it's all a process where you change. Change is not in all circumstances immediate, it's a process. I see Reverend Alex has turned on his camera. Reverend Alex, you're going to greet us this evening. I acknowledge you, sir.
Good evening,
Good evening,
everyone.
Robert Alex.
Yeah, good evening, everyone in the class of Steele, and good evening, Dr. Michael Steele. I greet everyone from Sokoto, and one of the things I enjoyed the class, very nice. One of the things, anytime I'm walking to listen to join the class of Steele, I always go back, reflect, also reflect. Thank you, sir. God bless
Okay, you broke up at the last second. I heard you said anytime you leave the class of Steve, you go back. I didn't hear what you said after that.
you. I say anytime I leave the class of Steele, I think I go back home refreshed. I think I refreshed. So that's
Okay,
what I refreshed. So
okay,
also refreshed.
okay. When you leave the class of Steve, you leave the class of Steve refreshed.
Yeah.
Well done. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution and for being here in the class. I appreciate your presence in the class.
You,
Well, everybody in the class, thank you again for being here. I'm Dr. Michael Steele, and to those who are on our YouTube channel and our Class of Steel Facebook class and group, I want to appreciate you. Thank you so very much for your time, and looking forward to being in Dubai with the Class of Steel. We have some special things that are going to be happening in Dubai, and I'm looking forward to sharing those things with you while in Dubai. So on that note, good night and God bless you. Have a wonderful evening and see you in class on Friday, where Dr. D4 will be looking after the class. See you on Friday. Good night and God bless.
God bless.
Say bye.
Bye. Bye.